Welcome everybody to the Feeding Frenzy Friday. My name is Brian. This is where we break down the Friday featured asset from Notes Direct. If you're someone looking to buy notes and you want an expert opinion, this is the place to be. We have Scott Tyler, a veteran of almost 30 years in the note business, giving us his thoughts on these notes. If this is a value to you, we would love for you to just smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, click that bell notification so that you get a notification every single time we post one of these videos ahead of the emails. Let's go. So what do you got for us today, Scott?
Brian, I have got a single family residence in Franklinville, New York. We featured another one in New York in Niagara Falls last week. This one's not too far from it. This one is actually, it's about an hour south of Buffalo. But man, look at that property.
This is the first thing that I noticed about this house is I was like, this is something you would see on like a Hallmark movie or something. It's got the big trees. It's over 5 acres. Like there's these things about it that are like, man, this is a movie set. I feel like.
Yeah, and it's funny when I got this picture, Brian. This property sits on 5 1/4 acres. I mean, there's a lot of elbow room, right?
Yeah.
I had to skinny the picture up a little bit, right, so we could see it on Notes Direct. But the other picture that I did has the guy on his riding mower mowing his acreage out there. So, hey, man, we talk about the
pride of homeownership.
Yeah, pride of homeownership. I mean, this one is beyond that, right? Yeah. I mean, this guy's been there since '98. So
okay, so when you've got, this is for everybody listening, when you've got somebody who's lived in a house from 1998, we talk about this, it seems like all the time. Look, this guy he's emotionally invested in this property. Now you add on top of this, he's even captured riding in his lawnmower, which maybe it's a fluke, but I'm going to go with it happens regularly. Even if it's not, if you take a look at the picture, when you see these things like, oh, look at the gardening, look at the flowers, look at the upkeep, look how it's, painted. All these things are telling you that the homeowner views this asset as valuable to their family and to their life, right? They keep it up. And that tells us this is a great borrower, right? These are really good signs for us.
Yeah. And, and we mentioned 1998. And if you do the math, obviously on a 30-year loan, we're looking at this going, okay, well, he's got a little less than 10 years left. But there was, he had a hardship back in 2018, Brian. I mean, we all have them, right? He did not stick his head in the sand. He didn't not pick up the phone and the servicer called. He called and he was like, look, I need help. And you know what? He got help. He got on a modification. And I think the only thing that in this case on the modification, the interest rate was lowered a little bit, got his payment down a little bit, and look, he's ready to go. He's been making payments since. So, you talk about the borrower. That's the things that you look at. You want to make sure that you have a communication with the borrower and that he knows that he can call you.
Yeah, and since he's been paying for since then, I mean, this is almost like it was a refinance in his head, right?
Right.
He fell on hard times, but he's back on track. And like we see in the payment history, the guy pays on times, and so we've got a solid payment or pay amount every single month, right? It's over $700 in cash flow. So we love to see that. Let's talk a little bit about the risk associated with it. Loan to value, investment to value. Where are we at on that?
Yeah, the BPO, we had a BPO done earlier this year in April, came in about 68,000. I look online as well. I think it's a little bit more than this. I think, even at the 68,000 value that we got in April, you're below on about a 75% investment to value. Okay. I mean, he's got 20% equity in the property at that number, and I still think it's a little bit higher than that. It's not going to be up to 100,000, but it's probably close to 75, 80,000 in my mind. But again, that's why you have your own evaluation done. You want to know for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And more importantly, as we kind of isolate each variable, when we're analyzing a note, we want to look at something and say, how do we feel about this? What are the pros and the cons of this? But more importantly, at the end of analyzing each piece, you got to step back and say, what has the most weight? And I got to say that when someone's consistently paying, that's number one on a performing note. Number two is, what's the propensity to pay? What's the likelihood they're going to continue to pay? And that's where it comes back to the beginning of the conversation of, if from an incentive standpoint, the guy's emotionally invested. He clearly keeps the house up. That's great. The rents in the area are higher. Yes.
Right. Yes. Yeah. They're about 850 to 900 in that area. So
Okay.
again, and hey, that doesn't include 5.25 acres as well, right? So a rent on, let's say 800, 850 is probably on a single family residence and on a quarter acre lot or something like that, not 5+ acres.
Yeah, and this is something we don't really talk much about, but there's a type of borrower and person, right, who if they chose to go live on 5 acres, that in itself has an additional value typically to them. They don't want to go live in the city and save a couple $100, right? They don't want to have neighbors on both sides of them. And so this kind of adds to the storyline of, okay, maybe there's a little bit more incentive to this borrower, and that's great.
Yep, for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Scott, for taking some time to walk through that with us. If this asset is for you, make sure you do your due diligence and then go and click that purchase button. Go out and make it happen. Take action. If you want to see more notes, make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Make sure you click that bell notification to get the latest updates so that as soon as we post these videos, you're getting the information ahead of the emails. If you're new to Notes or you want to learn more about Notes, you should register for our one-day deeper dive class through our sister company, Note School. It is a one-day deeper dive class to cover everything from creative financing, creating your own notes, learning how to wholesale and flip notes, things like performing notes and selling partials, what it looks like to make some big money with some bad debts through non-performing notes. It's a wonderful full-day class. You could register for that class below. For the rest of you, I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week on the Feeding Frenzy Friday.